listening to Opinions and Beer.
And opinions and beer. Two guys and another guy. Will never happen again.
Hello, and welcome to Opinions and Beer. It's a new year!
2022.
It's your host, it's Adam.
I'm here with Tyler.
And today, we're just chatting. It's a brand new year, 2022, New Year's. And we've got the beer of the day.
Got the Goat Getter Texas Bock.
Oh, by 11 Below Brewing Company. Beer comes in at 6.2% alcohol by volume. Goat Getter Texas Bock. 'Tis the season to brave the nippy days of Texas winter. There's no finer companion than a malty Bock in your hand. Brewed with German malts and cold lager, this young buck is eager to please. As smooth and versatile as a cut-off sweater, our Texas-style Bock is a real goat getter.
Versatile as a cut-off sweater. That's a nifty line right there. All right.
The picture on this is a goat, a buff goat, in
a torn off sweater. Yeah. So he's wearing that versatile sweater right there.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Now we typically do a lot of L's on the show. We don't do that many lagers. This is our first lager in quite some time.
It actually looks really, really pretty with that head.
Oh yeah. And it has a very nice what color would you call that? A caramel color?
Amber caramel color? Yeah, dark amber. Very dark amber. I mean, even with that light, I think it's going to be a beautiful dark amber color.
Yeah. Anyways, I guess that was pointless.
No luck there with the lights.
Yeah, well, I haven't unplugged shit. I was like...
And then the lights decided to kill themselves.
God damn it.
The light just gave up. Grabbed it by the chest and said, "I'm coming, Elizabeth."
That's the first time it's fallen. And people have like run by it and...
People are listening to this like, man, they're having some technical malfunctions up in here.
What can you say? It's the beginning of the year. This year is our year. Have you ever heard that sentiment? Like, this is gonna be our year.
Oh yeah,
my
year. Yeah. I've heard crap like that before. I've said crap like that before.
Oh really?
Yeah. Back when I was in my early 20s, just like, oh yeah, this is gonna be the year that I get all my shit together.
And then some people make jokes about it. They're like, it's like the first day. Well, next year. Yeah, I've already fucked up.
It's the first. I've already fucked up. Next year I'll do better.
Now we're gonna go ahead before I guess let's smell this. Let's do the tasting first, and then we'll go through the traditional Bock and stuff. So I'm gonna smell it, and it smells of malt. Well, actually, what's interesting is I think the hops are actually coming through a lot more than a typical Bock, but at 22 IBUs, that's really low. Let's try this beer.
That ain't bad. It's like it's like, what is that? It's a Bock, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like that Shiner Bock sort of.
Well, Shiner Bock, ironically enough, isn't a Bock.
Oh.
That's what...
Those people need to change their shit around then.
It's actually closer to just a traditional adjunct lager. But same family, Bock is a lager, and that's probably where they got their name. They thought they're... So let's go ahead. We're going to look at the Bock guidelines and see where it comes through. So aroma, strong malt aroma, often with moderate amounts of rich melodines and or toasty overtones. Virtually no hop aroma, which I got a little hop aroma. Some alcohol may be noticeable, clean, low to no fruity esters. That's the aroma for a traditional Bock.
I mean, it doesn't smell very strong. I don't smell no alcohol or nothing. It's actually got a very mild aroma.
Yeah.
Very, very light, very mild aroma.
Appearance, light copper to brown color, often with attractive garnet highlights. Lagering should provide good clarity despite the dark color. Large, creamy, persistent off-white head.
Hey, it's got all that.
Oh yeah, the color.
That color's beautiful.
Appearance is pretty perfect.
With literally like the whole description that it gave, with the whole like light brown with hints of amber, like everything's in that color right there.
Flavor. Complex maltiness is dominated by the rich flavors of Munich and Vinny malts, which contribute to melodins. I don't know what the fucking melodines and toasty flavors. Some caramel notes may be present from deco fucking, I gotta learn these words, mashing and a long boil. Hop bitterness is generally only high enough to support the malt flavors, allowing a bit of sweetness to linger into the finish. Well, attenuated, not cloying, clean with no esters, no hop flavor, no roasted or burnt character.
You know, when they say the what is that? The sweet?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's there.
Sweetness to linger allowing a bit of sweetness to linger into the finish.
Yeah, no, right when you coat the whole tongue in it, there's a tiny bit of sweetness, man.
Mouthfeel, medium to medium full bodied, moderate to moderately low carbonation. Some alcohol warmth may be found, but should never be hot. Smooth, without harshness or astringency.
On the mouthfeel, that's a good mouthfeel.
Oh yeah.
I agree. Overall impression is what?
Overall, a dark, strong, malty lager beer.
That is exactly what you got here, goat getter. Totes my goats. Right there, 11 Below Brewing, Totes my goats. Yep, this goat getter. This is a damn good Bock.
Oh yeah. So very good, very solid. So that was just two styles. I just want to make sure that we're learning the styles.
Learn a little bit about beer every time we drink it.
Every time we drink it. That way, when we're looking at a beer and we can maybe we drink a Bock in the future, and we're like, man, this is not a Bock.
Oh, yeah. Somebody brings me a Shiner Bock next time, I'll be like, this isn't a Bock at all. This is just a lager.
They're like, thank you, sir, for that information.
Go into Texas bars and be like, I need to take all that Shiner Bock down. Quit calling it a Bock. It's not a Bock. That's a lager.
That's just a typical adjunct lager.
Fucking... But I'll still take one. Just stop calling it that.
Just
on
call
the
it
sheer principle alone.
Drop the Bock. Just call it Shiner. Which I don't think anybody calls it Shiner Bock. Do you ever hear people say Shiner Bock?
Yeah, most of the time when people say, they're like, "Hey, I'm gonna go pick up a 6-pack of Shiner. You want some?"
Yeah, I think most people have dropped the Bock since then.
Unless you're somebody like my brother, because he's one of those guys that he's always gonna say it. You know, he drinks that Ziegenbock. That brand of it. He drinks the Ziegenbock.
Ziegenbock might be closer to
an actual Bock.
I think so. Let me see. Ziegenbock is a German amber lager. So it's very close.
Once again, not a Bock, just a dark amber lager right there.
A red lager. So it's closer to George Killian's.
Yeah. So once again, the whole Shiner family, you guys aren't Bocks, man.
So that's interesting.
That'd be like Bud Light trying to call themselves a ghost. It's just like, no, you're not sour. Stop it.
Now, Bock is a lager, though. It's like a
Bock is a lager, but not all lagers are Bocks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Now, lagers are, as you know, seeing how all adjunct lagers are the most popular sold beer. They're also like the hardest beer to brew. They require very low temps. So you need to be able to control your temps very well. That's why a lot of craft beer people don't do. They tend to lean towards ales, and they don't really do lagers as much because it's harder to get those to control your temperatures and keep your temperatures.
Man, when you don't get it right, a whole batch is ruined, and you just wasted a whole bunch of time.
Did you know Budweiser purposely ruins their beer? Like they actually apparently Budweiser makes a really good beer, and they half it with water for the masses. So that the masses will drink it. Apparently, there's certain Budweiser plant tours where like once a year they'll give you like a sample of like pre-watered down, one of the head brewers he's an ex-head brewer now, but he said he tried it. He said it was like drinking a whole different...
Yeah, like, no, you weren't even drinking Budweiser. You were drinking a whole different beer, a more fine-bodied beer. Me and my friends have always made the joke that, like, Miller Lite, Bud Light, Budweiser, you know, they all taste basically like watered-down deer piss. We've always made that joke, just like... It's a cheap thing that you drink to get drunk. If anybody ever says, like, oh, that's what a beer's supposed to taste like, they're just a fucking idiot. They're just wrong.
They're wrong. It's just easy. I guess it's just easier for some people to drink, I guess.
Well, true. I will say that, like, my wife is not a big fan of, like, any kind of wine. I've like for example, like, any wine. Red wine, sparkling wine, pink, white, doesn't matter. Take any of those wines that she doesn't like, though, and mix it with some, like, fruit juice.
Okay.
She'll drink a whole bottle. She'll get drunk. She'll get drunk as hell. So I'm thinking, like, yeah, like what you're saying, it's the same thing. They take this full-bodied beer, and then they fill half of it up with water. Now everybody can drink it, and now everybody can get drunk. You know?
Yeah.
It's sad, though, too, because I'd really like to try, like, the full-bodied Budweiser without that whole, like, watered-down experience.
I know, right? Apparently, for the longest time, they wouldn't. They I don't know if they still do it, but they wouldn't let women work at the Budweiser plant for fear of contamination.
Yeah, you know,
yeast.
She's gonna fuck it all up.
She's gonna fuck it all up.
Gonna mess up the entirety of the whole beer. You know, its sanctity is ruined. Now put that water in there and get it sold to the masses.
Exactly. You fucking purist bastards. Fake ass shit.
No women in here. Pour that water in that barrel, though.
That's why there's always a war against these the big beer people. Which they big beer is kind of like it's a strange thing because they like secretly buy a craft brewery.
And then they just like shit on the recipes of the craft brewery that they buy.
You know, some of them claim they don't or whatever, but for the most part, it seems like
it's like okay, so if Budweiser comes in and buys your tiny lager facility where you make your nice pure lager, they don't care about the purity of your lager.
No,
like they want that thing mass produced. They're gonna bring in a whole bunch of more machines to get that thing mass produced, and they're probably gonna shit on your recipe that you created. They're gonna be like, well, if we change this and water it down a little bit,
exactly. You know, I've noticed that with I feel like Bock, Bock, I think, was bought by Budweiser, and I think they have lost a lot of their flavors and stuff in their beers recently. They used to be one of my top, like, craft beer that was, like, getting, mass appeal, and then ever since they were bought, I think a lot of their stuff has gone downhill, but...
The quality has shirked.
That's what it is, the quality. Now, they do the Hellfire series... And that's pretty good, but other than that Hellfire series where they're able to like sit there and make a specialty release 4-bottle stout that's cost $30, it's like everything.
Yeah.
I don't know. It probably don't cost $30, but it's up there. It's like $15 or $20 for a 4-pack.
4-pack, yeah.
So
yeah, that's another thing that I've also realized when it comes to like buying craft beers and stuff. I've had other buddies who were into it before I started hanging out with you and all that. And the whole thing that I've noticed is like, you want to go buy a 6-pack, and if you're trying to think like, what's the drunkest I can get? Craft beer is really probably, unless it's like a strong 8% stout or something like that, craft beer is probably not going to do you because you're going to spend like $16 on just 4 beers, where you could take that same 16 and turn around and buy a 12-pack with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It is a very expensive endeavor to get into craft beer.
Yeah.
Especially these fucking sour. Man, we're probably gonna do a lot more sours soon. We're done with stout season. I mean, there'll be stouts here and there still, obviously.
I was actually excited for that. I was like, the sours were actually pretty damn good.
But I mean, a lot of sours, they'll be like pretty low in alcohol, but they're still like fucking 4 cans for $24.
Yeah. They gotta pay for the labeling and the sugar and everything else.
The fucking wacky ass labeling on fucking sour cans.
I've noticed that too. Like all these, like this one right here. Yeah, you could say it's wacky. It's got what is that? Totes my goats.
Yeah,
it's got Totes my goats wearing his beer mug, versatile sweater. Very versatile piece of clothing, right? He's wearing, but What was the other ones like with the sours? Like they had like a Mario level looking video game.
Oh, that was a stout. That was a stout.
That was a stout. Okay.
Yeah. The sours we had Tiger's Blood.
Yeah,
That they weren't that crazy, I guess.
Well, like they weren't necessarily like they were colorful and
the beers themselves were like
like in the cans, like one of those cans that I remember trying. I don't know if it was the.
Oh, Space Ghost, maybe?
Yeah, like, one of those cans looked like modern art on a can. Like, that was like, just like, I was like, okay, so clearly they put a lot of thought into their can. You know what I mean? Like, they put a lot of thought into their label.
That labeling costs all the money.
Yeah, that's why it's $20 for 4 beers.
Paying for the label. My God.
I mean, I watched that show, The Hot Ones, where they try the spicy hot wings.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite quotes of all time by Alton Brown. Whenever he was, like, examining their hot sauce, he was like, the paper on your labeling isn't cheap. That's a nice paper right there. And I was like, yeah, and that's why that hot sauce is so damn expensive, because that paper isn't cheap, is it?
The paper's not cheap on here.
You actually got a good label. It's nice. You didn't do much with it. Like, yours is very simple. And I was sitting there looking at that like, right, it's a simple label, but the paper's nice and expensive. That's why that ghost pepper hot sauce is so expensive online.
I know, right? That's great. Have you ever had? Have you had ghost pepper beer yet?
No, I have not.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
I gotta find some. It's usually only on tap. There's a restaurant in Beaumont. Jay Wilson's. I don't know if you ever.
I've heard of it. I've never been to Jay Wilson's.
But Jay Wilson's, they have usually a really nice beer selection. Every once in a while, they'll get this ghost pepper beer, and it's one of my favorite fucking stouts I've ever had. Is a fucking ghost pepper stout. It was so good. So good.
Is the ghost pepper just add a burn, or does it add like a good flavor to it? Just make it hot?
Oh yeah, it's like a burn that sneaks up on you, yeah.
Oh yeah, I've always heard that about ghost pepper. Like you can throw one in there, start chewing it, and you'll be like, oh man, this is spicy, but then literally like a minute later you're like dying.
Now, a Louisiana beer, they don't sell it anymore. I think the company's probably defunct now. I mean, breweries, they come and go, sadly.
Right, yeah.
But there's a brewery, they brewed their beer with fucking what do everyone eat? What do you eat? Do you eat it? The fish? Not fish. I don't need it because I'm Jewish. I'm not really Jewish, but I don't need it because I pretend to be Jewish. Crawfish.
Okay. Shellfish? I was confused. I was like, are you talking about shellfish or?
Do you eat crawfish?
I eat the fuck out of crawfish.
Okay, there we go. So I was right. Most people do.
Well, honestly, there's nothing on this planet that I won't/can't eat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't have any preferences like that. If I walk, I'm also one of those people who's not picky either.
Okay.
So like, if I walk into a place. Okay, like perfect example. If you had a restaurant and I walked into your restaurant, even if it was just like a roadside shack, if I ordered a burger, you're not going to get a bunch of like no tomato, no onion, please add extra mayonnaise. Like however your burger comes is how I want the burger. I just want to order a burger and get out. That's why working in fast food is one of the most miserable things. People want to come in and customize every fucking McDouble they order.
Can I get a McDouble, but without that double part?
They're like, oh, no, dude. Like, look, two things to any human being listening right now. If you drive up to a fast food restaurant and you don't know what you want, just go somewhere else. Just stop doing what you're doing. How do you not know what you want at a McDonald's or at a Burger King?
I don't go to McDonald's.
Their menu hasn't changed in 50 years. No, it really
layout
hasn't.
changes.
The layout changes a bit, and they add 1 or 2 new seasonal promotional items, but then, like, we always got McDoubles, we always got quarter pounders, we always got fish, we always got chicken sandwiches.
Just the price changes, and I choose my stuff based on the price.
See, okay, if you choose your stuff based on the price, that's one thing. But if you're going by like, what do I want from a McDonald's? There's nuggets and burgers, man.
Don't they sell breakfast all day?
No, don't sell breakfast. No, they don't do breakfast all day.
Okay.
No, they used to, but that was a nightmare.
Okay, well, see,
so like,
see, what if it was hard for somebody to pick breakfast or dinner?
If it's 12:30 in the afternoon and you're having a hard time picking between breakfast and dinner, go fuck yourself. That's what I'm gonna say. It's lunchtime. Get a burger and shut the fuck up. Like, that's all I'm gonna say about that. Fucking.
I want a McGriddle. I want a McGriddle.
Yeah, like, you want a McGriddle? Come back at 4 a.m. when we got McGriddles. We sell them from 4 a.m. to like 11. I hate people who call it like 3 a.m. when we're
I hope you weren't working the other day. You probably weren't. You work at night. Okay, good.
Yeah, I work overnight.
Okay, so I screwed somebody over. But it was not my fault.
No, it's totally okay, man. We deal with it.
Okay, because I like, I don't know, I guess I forgot my wallet. And so I just had to leave the line. I'm like, oh no, I'm just gone.
I think I heard them complaining about that.
Oh, really?
It happens all the time, though. They were like, oh yeah, people been leaving line today randomly. And you're just like, yeah, whatever. But
that's crazy.
But yeah, that's why I'm not a picky person, though, is because I'm pretty sure this restaurant with this cool beer you're talking about, I'm pretty sure I can go in there and order something, and then it come to me, eat it, be satisfied with it, and then never have to hear like, oh man, this guy, he doesn't want tomatoes, or oh, he can't eat crawfish because he pretends to be Jewish. Like, I don't have anything like that going for
Can't
me.
eat crawfish because he pretends.
I don't know how they'd know that much.
It's a good gimmick, though. I like that.
Somebody'd have to throw it out there like, yeah, he's pretending.
He's pretending to be Jewish. What? Are you the?
I had a buddy of mine that wanted to be Jewish really bad.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, he was on one time, Brennan.
Okay.
He was on the podcast. Yeah, he wanted to be Jewish really, really, really bad. He went to the Jewish synagogue over there in Beaumont, and they told him the path that you got to take to actually becoming a Jew.
Yeah.
It literally, the guy who wrote Fight Club stole it from Judaism. Did you know that? You got to go to the temple and you got to say, I want to be a Jew. They're going to tell you no. And then you got to come back to the temple and say, I want to be a Jew. They're going to tell you no. Then you got to come back. You do it 3 times and then they'll finally accept you. It is literally just like in Fight Club.
Oh my God. That's insane.
3 days in a row of you showing up saying, no, look, I really want to do this.
Yeah.
And then they're like, nah, get out of here. You can't do it. Then you come back the next day and you're like, hey, man, can I do this? I really want to do this. And they're like, no, get out of here. Then the 3rd time you show up, they're like, all right, you want in? You want to come in and listen to the prayers and stuff? All right, you want to learn from the book and all that? And you're just like, yeah. He didn't do it because he doesn't have a car, and so getting all the way to Beaumont and back every time would be a difficult procedure for him.
Pretty rough.
But
it's rough. It's rough being a Jew.
It's rough being a Jew with no car.
No. Strangely enough, I get the Jew thing because my father and his brothers and sisters were raised Jewish as an FU to the other the siblings. It was so like, okay, so I guess here's how I don't know how to explain this. Basically,
from the top
there was a, oh my God, hello Kevin Bivens.
Hey, where are we doing that?
Oh, come to my parents.
Okay, what are we doing all there?
The promos.
Like, do I need to bring the chair, or what do we do? I need to know where all the. They're asking how long I'm gonna be gone since I didn't know we were doing anything today.
Oh, just I mean, it's probably short.
I'm planning around 3.
It's probably like short.
Okay, and Headstrong put a thumbs up.
Yeah, he'll probably be over soon.
Headstrong put a thumbs up on your message.
All right, cool.
Okay. Hey, wait. Did you say I needed to bring chairs? Are we doing any like sitting down promos, or what are we doing?
You can bring a chair if you want to sit down, but it's basically you talking to everybody and setting it up.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
We're doing it in your backyard or front? Or
Probably about everywhere. Side yards.
Gotcha.
All right.
Okay. Well, if you got somewhere to sit, that's all I need.
All right.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Where are we at?
Fun interruption right there, ladies and gentlemen. We were just on the telephone with Kevin Bibens.
Woo! Richard. Rich Fortune. My brain. I have like fucking Alzheimer's already. I like getting fucking.
Oh yeah, that shit gets real right there. Alzheimer's.
I bet.
My grandpa had Alzheimer's, fucking 92 years old.
I mean, I feel like
couldn't talk anything anymore, but if you mention the word cigarette, his synapses would snap.
Oh my God.
That's how deep cigarettes get you.
Jesus
right there.
Christ.
You know, you can be 92 years old and know nothing about anything. Somebody say, "Hey, cigarette." Oh.
Who was speaking last? Was it me? Oh yeah, story. My
Yeah, from the top. How your
Okay.
parents' siblings were raised
my
Jewish.
my grandpa's dad basically,
Your great-grandpa.
my great-grandpa became a Republican. But a Republican Jew
Oh, wow.
in spite of the J.P. Morgan branch of our family. And basically, or maybe it was his dad. Anyways, something happened where he became a rebel. Ironically, the Republican rebel.
The Republican rebel Jew.
And so,
Fucking write that comic book right now.
and it's just been passed down, blacklisted from the other Morgan families. And then,
Hey, it's something very like my dad's dad. Like he had my dad, my dad's brother, and then that trails down to me and my brother and our kids. There's like a whole other there's like a whole other Phillips group because his dad also knocked up this other chick that had kids, and then they had kids.
oh, geez, yeah.
But they're all rich
yeah.
because Grandpa Earl put all the time and the effort into that family. And my dad wonders why I try to piss on his grave every time we go to Hemphill.
Jesus Christ.
He's always like, oh man, it wasn't your grandpa's fault. And I'm like, it was a choice. Grandpa wanted that family to do good, but not this one, so Grandpa gets his grave pissed on. How's that sound?
Jesus Christ.
I want to dig him up and take his nice, what was your dad said? Dad told me like he had like a $5,000 ring. There are literally some days I think about going and digging up my dad's dad just so I could get that ring. He ain't needing it. He doesn't need that fucking ring. I have a rent to pay. I need that fucking ring. I bet it's worth more now. If it cost him $5,000 in the 70s, I wonder how much that ring's worth now.
Yeah, right. Jesus.
But he's got a nice suit on too. Take that shit too. Whatever, pawn whatever I can. Hey, Grandpa, thanks.
Thanks, Gramps.
Nice brass knobs on that casket. I bet I can melt those down, get some copper out of it.
Oh, look, you had fillings? I didn't know that.
Oh, man, if my grandpa had feelings, I'd feel like I hit the jackpot. I'd take that fancy-ass ring and then pull out that wrench and be like, all right, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Anyways. Oh, my God.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
No,
I'm not talking about digging up my
good.
grandpa. I'd never do that.
If Grandpa died, life would be grand.
My mother suffers from hereditary schizophrenia. I think I do too. I talked to a therapist last week.
Oh, did you?
Oh yeah.
How was that?
I think I got like 18 things wrong with me.
18?
Maybe more. That's
At least you're ready to put a number on it.
Well, yeah. Well, it's an exaggeration. It's meant to be
Okay.
funny, but at the same time, it's like. She was like, we were talking for like 2 hours, and she was like, well, you definitely got this, and you definitely got that, and I'm pretty sure that those are symptoms of this, and oh man, that happened to you when you were a kid, you know, you probably, I think it's like in total, I got like 6 mental disorders
Jesus
that
Christ.
I refuse to get medicated for, because, you know, this amber beer right here seems to do the trick really well.
This is a really good beer.
I'm just,
It's a beer. It's a beer.
Since that's the point of this podcast is talking and drinking beer, I'm just going to say we picked damn good beer to sit and talk and drink to. I mean,
Oh yeah,
not bad at all.
yeah. We should. We definitely need to get pull some more lagerish beers. Lager beers are very beery beers, where the ales they tend to be more on the fruity notes and hoppy and bitter and all the craziness that craft beer can get into. But it's always nice to have a.
Are there beer sommeliers?
What?
The sommelier, the guy who like the dickhead who's all like, "Ooh, this wine has fruity notes."
Oh yes,
they got beer sommeliers.
Yes.
Oh my god.
No,
man.
oh, you know what's crazy? I was just watching a video with one because I was just trying to see what this guy thought, and he was like, because they was doing this side by side comparison of two of the same style, and he had to guess which one was the most expensive, like which one was
I've
more
seen
expensive.
videos like that. Yeah, where they blindfold was he blindfolded?
He wasn't blindfolded, but I'm sure they do with other.
I've seen videos where they either blindfold them or they just bring them in very neutral looking
Yes,
cups. And
yes.
they tell you like that one of them's expensive, one of them's not.
Yeah.
So he did that with beer.
Oh yeah, and he was right
Was
on.
he spot on?
Yeah,
He fucking-
spot on with everyone.
How the fuck do you get like that in life where you're like?
Well, because he said he's like, well, look, because he knew all these guidelines,
Oh.
and he goes, well, the color on this one is slightly darker, and so it's not really on point. This one looks like they took the time and nailed it, and so this
fucking
one
smelling it and
yeah.
shit.
Or he goes, this one has a lot more hops, and hops are the most expensive part in the beer, and so this one has a low hop profile, and therefore I believe this one's more expensive.
Wow, that's like straight up math though,
Yeah,
right there, where he's like, hops are the most expensive part. I taste a lot of hops in this. This must be the expensive one.
Yeah, or this.
It gets confusing with certain other things though, like wine. Like, it's always been confusing to me where it's like, oh no, you gotta aerate it. Oh yeah, no, that stuff. And you're like, well, what are you tasting besides the bitter bite of alcohol? And he's like, no, there are cherry hints, and the grape was a white grape, and you're like, okay, I guess you just know everything about this wine.
Well, I mean, you're supposed to be able to taste like hints of stuff in beer as well. I think that's definitely a thing.
Well, that's like the first thing, like, I've never drank like nice beers before this podcast. Really, I've always been a broke toke drinker. So,
oh, God. But like so, like there's like some there's certain like hops and yeast will put off, and it will list the flavors that it supposedly can put off, and like hints of honey, hints of blah blah blah.
There was a couple of beers that we did during the 12 pods. I don't know if you ladies and gentlemen have seen the 12 pods. If not, you're gonna go check that out. The 12 pods of Christmas.
Woo!
But there was one beer in particular that said like it had chocolate, vanilla, and like 4 other things in it.
Yeah.
And all I could get was the vanilla. On the exhale and the drink, all I could get was the vanilla, and I'm sitting there looking at their can like, what the fuck do you mean you have hints of chocolate and nutmeg and coffee? All I'm tasting is vanilla, dude. You put too much and it didn't work.
Exactly.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
They put too much beer in there. Like, too much in their beer. Not too much beer. There's no such thing as that. But they put too much in their beer that you can't, like... Unless you're some kind of magic sommelier, savant of sommelier, you can just
George Ramsay.
Fucking coffee, vanilla, chocolate, nutmeg. This beer has it all.
You gotta own Hell's Kitchen to be able to taste all the fucking like your palate sucks. Your palate's trash. Gordon Ramsay.
I've been to a Gordon Ramsay restaurant once.
It was horrible.
No, it was actually really good.
Okay.
I went on a high school trip in London, and my dad sent me over there with an ass ton of money. Because he was like, you're 18, the drinking age over there is like 16 or whatever. I think it was 18 at the time. But he was like, you're going over there. My dad was giving me this whole speech. He's like, you're going over there. You're a man. You know what I mean? You're going to have a bunch of money in your pocket. You need to be responsible. You're going to be over there for 2 weeks. You know what I mean? So we went on this school trip for 2 weeks to London. And like, while I was over there, I got the wild hair up my ass. I was like, I have never eaten fancy in my life. Like, truly fancy. You know what I mean? Like, Gordon Ramsay fancy. So I went there and I had a steak. And like, the meal was fucking beautiful. The meal was beautiful. And now that I've gotten older, I realized to myself, like, why the fuck didn't I go to Marco Pierre White's restaurant? He's the guy who taught Gordon Ramsay how to cook. Like, what? Oh, I'm an idiot. You know what I mean?
Idiot. That damn fame will do it to you, man.
Yeah, because at the time I was sitting there thinking like, oh wow, Gordon Ramsay's restaurant. Now that I'm older, I'm like, fucking Marco Pierre White taught that motherfucker how to cook.
Oh God.
Should have had the master's food.
Hell yeah, master food, baby.
Oh yeah, this is actually a really good beer, man.
Oh yeah, I know. It keeps because it's good. It's very malty.
It.
It's very. It definitely nails it.
We done past that. The fucking point of no return. I mean, it's even kind of warmed up a little bit, and it's still good.
Oh, yeah.
That's something that I really judge beers on.
When it warms up?
When it warms up, how just, like, absolutely unbearable is it?
Yes.
And I'll say this, like, Bud Light, for as watered down as it is, it's probably one of the most bearable beers warm.
Well, because it's water.
Yeah, it's water.
But then, warm water is
it's
not even warm. It's probably... when we say warm, we're probably thinking... room temp.
Yeah, room temp.
room temp.
Like a room temp Bud Light isn't the worst.
Water.
It's like room temp.
Water.
It gets its beer flavor when it cools down a bit, actually. That's fucking weird. I never thought about it like that. But then, like, you get one of those, like, blacks that we had, like, not last week, but, like, 2 weeks ago. Okay. You get one of those blacks and you let that thing get room temperature. I will laugh watching you vomit trying to fucking finish that
What's crazy is, a lot of people early on, and still some people have this, have this sentiment where you're supposed to drink stouts warm. And
My brother, he was stationed in Germany when he was in the military. He told me about that. He told me, like, you go to fucking, they have, like, warm taps over there in Germany.
Well, but it's slightly different because Germany, they have, I think we mentioned this before on the podcast, Germany has purity laws.
Oh, wow.
So their beer is kind of meant to either be, their beer's made drinkable that way.
To be hot or cold, either way.
Yeah, hot or cold, and a lot of their times they brew their beer as mixers and they mix it with Coke and soda and shit.
That is fucking crazy. I would never mix a beer with soda.
Because the purity laws on the actual brewing process stops them from adding a fucking coffee, chocolate.
So, like, you won't find anything like this in Germany.
Hell no.
They're just like, no, we want beer.
I think the closest place might be fucking the Netherlands. I don't know where the Netherlands is in the map, close as far as Germany goes.
I think it's like north of Germany a bit.
Okay.
Like north.
Yeah, like
north
the Netherlands.
Northeast of Germany.
The Netherlands are outside of the purity laws, but I think Germany's still there.
I mean, it makes sense that Germans would have purity laws on
yeah.
beer. It's not like a race thing or anything, but I know that I know that their country is known well for its strong, proud beers. So it makes sense that, like, just like Japan, like, there are huge regulations on things like chicken eggs in Japan. They will literally tell you that if you go to Japan, you buy a chicken egg, you can eat it raw without getting salmonella. That's something that Japanese people just don't worry about, is salmonella, because of the quality that is enforced upon people who sell chicken eggs to the public. And as a matter of fact, like, one thing I learned from, like, watching that, like you're saying, you go learn new stuff every day. The yolk of most Japanese eggs are kind of an orangish color rather than a yellow color.
Okay.
The yellow color is due to our lack of quality control.
I mean, you would think that with all the bleach we put on our eggs,
yeah, exactly,
salmonella would be dead.
But like, in Japan, it's hard to find white eggs.
No, that's not because it's not real.
Them. Yeah, because they bleach them.
Eggs.
In Japan, it's like you can still find them, but it's really hard to find bleached eggs in Japan. The quality control is insane over there. That's why what's it called? Omaraisu. That's why it's such a very popular breakfast dish.
Oh yeah.
You just take some really steaming hot boiled rice, white rice, boil it, get it steaming hot, put it on a plate, crack an egg over it. The steam and the heat from the egg begins to mildly cook it, but you just stir it all together with some ketchup.
So it's pretty much like sunny side up.
Yeah, it's like a sunny side up egg with some ketchup on it, mixed in with some rice. So they call it omaraisu. It's delicious. I've tried it, like here, I've risked it here in America, with our eggs. I've tried it. I was like, you know what? I want to know what this is. Took a fresh scoop of steaming hot rice, cracked that egg on it. I watched that white start to appear just a little bit. Then I poured some ketchup on it, stirred it up. It was actually really fucking good.
Speaking of working in restaurants, poached eggs at Waffle House, do not order them. I mean, that's annoying.
That's not only is it annoying, but just like the poached egg in general at a Waffle House.
Have you ever worked at Waffle House?
No, but my wife has.
Oh man,
my wife was a waitress at Waffle House. I used to rub her shoulders while she cried every day when she got off of
rough.
Work. It's rough,
dude.
When you make all your money off tips, you make like $3.50 an hour at plus tips. So you make all of your money off tips. That $3.50 is bullshit.
Yeah.
So you make all your money off tips, and then you gotta like be nice to people. You gotta be courteous. You gotta convince them to give you a tip. And then like 50% of the people you serve are gonna be like rude assholes who are never gonna tip you no matter how nice you are.
Yeah.
Because they're judging it based off of like, oh, how fast did I get my food? Blah, blah, blah. And you're just like, look, I'm just a fucking poor waitress trying to make ends meet. And I used to do it for fun. I used to go into Waffle House while my wife was at work. I used to go in there while she was working and fuck with people. I would fuck with them so hard if they were being rude to her.
Yeah.
I would walk around there. I would walk up to the jukebox and be like, hey, who likes Katy Perry? Fucking 6 Katy Perry songs in a row. The same one. Hey, I just met you, and this is crazy.
Oh my god.
Walk up to their table. Hey, can I bum a cigarette?
Can I bum a cigarette?
Just make their experience just awful. Just ruin their whole day. Because if they're going to ruin her day, then I might as well ruin you and your whole family's day.
Oh my God.
Because what are you going to do? You know?
Oh,
You're going to be mad that your meal was ruined by the drunk guy who was enjoying Katy Perry? I bought my waffle. I have a right to be there.
I worked at Waffle House for a little bit. It wasn't too long, but I mean, it was long enough to have a feud with the boss's son. I got let go.
Boss's sons are the worst.
What's
man.
funny is I was let go because I'm retarded, not because I was let go for. I'm bad at test taking.
Oh yeah,
and they make you take a written exam
test,
or whatever.
Yeah, Tamron told me about that.
I guess. Well, the thing is, they give you a key, but it's wrong.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at they give you a key, an answer key, but then the test won't have
the same questions as the answer key.
No, it won't have the same answers as the answer key.
Oh wow.
So I'm like, what the fuck? Like, no, it's not even possible to answer this on here. There's no answer. And so I kept failing by 10 points because of the one answer that I couldn't, because it wasn't there.
That was when I went and took my last driving test.
Yeah.
It really bummed me out. I was so hyped. I'd been practicing my driving. And they were like, oh yeah, you gotta take that written test. And I was like, whatever. I flipped through the book.
Yeah.
You know? I sit down at this table, and then it tells you they tell you if you get too many answers wrong, it'll automatically kick you off.
Yeah.
You don't even gotta wait for the results. It'll automatically kick you off, and you gotta restart next week. So I went, and I was doing it, and I was doing it, and I was doing it. And then I got to the last 2 questions, and I'm like, because there's only 10, 15 questions, so missing 2 would be a big deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm going, I'm just like, yeah. And then this motherfucking thing is like, hey, what color are blind people's canes? And I'm like, I needed to know that? I need to know. If I see a person walking with a cane, I'm going to assume they're blind. What do you mean, what color are blind people's canes? Then the test is all like, what do you do if you see somebody walking down the road while you're driving? And I'm like, nothing? You do nothing? Or you maybe pull over and slow down a little bit? What do you mean, what do I do if I see someone walking down? I don't give a fuck that they're walking down the street. And then it's like, nope. Can't get your license today. Got to come back next week. And I got super bummed. I was so depressed. I went home.
Must have been one of these neighborhood watch people that
wrote fucking neighborhood watch asshole was like, you need to know it.
Vider Talk. When someone on Vider Talk wrote that quiz, it's like, oh my god.
I had to get off Vider Talk.
I was banned because I got mad at people. They're like, they're just walking down the street to work. It was someone I knew too. It was like someone walking to work to Vider. To Walmart. They worked at Walmart. They were just walking to Walmart or something. They were like, this person was walking down the street. I'm taking pictures of them now and posting them on Vider Talk.
I'm just like, what is this town's fucking problem?
With walking, that's why there's no sidewalks.
Yeah,
they don't want you walking.
They don't want nobody walking. And you know what? I hug the road. I make motherfuckers go around me. If you're going to hit me, go ahead and do it. I don't fucking care. And I hate it when people honk. I don't know if you know this or not because you have a car, but every time I walk somewhere and somebody that's a friend of mine sees me...
Oh, no, I used to walk all the time.
Yeah,
I know that.
And they honk.
Yeah, I hate it.
I hate it. I fucking hate it. I don't care if you're a friend of mine. If you honk while driving past me, the first thing I'm assuming is you're trying to start shit with me, so I flip your car off, and I'm like, fuck you, dude.
I usually do... I'm like... Who the fuck was that? Who is that fucking person? I'm so pissed. Who was it?
Get fucking fighting mad over that shit.
So mad. I get more mad over that than being hit with a door. Someone hit me with a door once, and I was just laughed it off. But then, someone shouts, or I don't like it. Yeah, honk or even saying my name driving.
Like Adam, and you're like, give me a ride.
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, like what the fuck's up? You know what I mean?
What's up?
It's one thing I've always hated. No, I agree with that sentiment. I almost feel like that's worse. Honking at me is like starting confrontation, and I love confrontation. You know, I'll be like, fuck you, and you'll be all like, fuck, and we'll get into an argument. But if you just drive by and you're like, Tyler, and I'll just be like, why didn't you stop and pick me? The next time I see you, I will call you out on that shit. I'll be like, why didn't you stop and pick me up? You saw me walking down the street sweating my ass off.
Yeah, it's fucking Texas.
It's Texas weather. Pick my ass up.
On top of being hot, I can't breathe.
My friends are all like, oh, we were just riding to McDonald's. And I'm like, I like McDonald's. I'm just lying. I don't like McDonald's. I just would have rode with you guys anyway to not walk.
Yeah, right. Oh, jeez. It's a damn good beer.
Yeah, it's literally about gone.
Man. We chatted about a lot of stuff today.
Chatted about a lot of stuff. Had a bunch of laughs.
Stuff.
For all you people out there who don't know, I'm a stand-up comedian. I got my first actual big gig on the 29th, Nederland, Texas. Look it up. Being the master of ceremonies for 4 bands coming out, including a band that's being ran by a good friend of mine. His name is Mark. The band's called Say 9.
Hell yeah.
So come on out and see us.
Woo!
You can check that up on Facebook. Look up Say 9.
Say 9.
With an X1 for the 9.
So you're hosting the event?
Yeah, I'm the master of ceremonies.
There we go.
Yep. And
what do you do at a master of ceremony?
Well, as a stand-up comedian, being a master of ceremonies, what I do is I come up on stage. They're probably going to give me like 10 minutes to run through some of my material like I usually do. But then it's my job to introduce the upcoming acts.
Okay.
So like I'm going to be up on stage like, hey everybody, this next band coming out is fixing to rock your shit. They're called Say 9. You know what I mean? And then they come out and then they play. And then once they leave stage so the other band can get ready, I'm going to come out. Do about 10 more, talk to people, warm it up, everything. Hey, this next band coming out, it's called Brides of, do the whole thing. Just bring them out, introduce them, get everybody hyped up, because that's what this is all about.
The hype man.
I'm the hype man.
Hell yeah.
I'm just a hype man that happens to be funny as shit.
Oh man. What would you rate this beer?
If I was gonna rate this beer, I would rate this beer right down. This is a 5 out of 10 for me. I would drink it.
You'd buy it?
I'd buy it. I'd drink it. It wouldn't be my first choice, but if somebody I was with pointed out and said like, man, we gotta, dude, I love that Goat Together beer, I'd be like, well, we're getting Goat Together.
Yeah,
I've had it. I don't mind it. Let's get some Totes My Goats.
Totes My Goats. Let's get some goaty beer. Man, it was pretty good. I guess final little thing before we exit out. What's your thoughts on... Man, have you been to Walmart recently? You were at Walmart. Man, I got in trouble at Walmart today.
Shoot. How'd you get in trouble?
I got a big old fight. I had a fight with this lady because... So they're iffy. So Walmart's iffy with their policies, with their employees. Oh, yeah. Not even employees, but vendor. I'm not a Walmart employee, but
don't worry. I used to work at Walmart. I know what you're talking about.
I'm a vendor, but so they're back to employees have to wear masks, including vendors or whatever. And I walk in, and this lady's like, "Hey, you gotta get your temperature checked." So I go over there. I'm like, "What?"
I'm like, "Can you talk to me like I'm a normal fucking person?"
And she's like, "Oh, and you gotta wear a mask." I'm like, "Oh, when that started?" And she's like, like a week ago or 2 weeks ago or something." I'm like, I'm in my head, I'm like, well, last week I didn't have no fucking mask on, and no one said shit. So what's, but today I gotta wear a mask. And then so she gave my temperature. Yeah, and if you don't wear a mask, we're gonna deny your truck. And I know truck comes on Monday, and I'm like, well, I don't want to work a 1,200 piece truck.
Yeah.
So I walked away. They looked at me like offended that I just said that I didn't want to work a 1,200 piece truck. I'm like, fuck it, deny it. I don't give a shit. I didn't say that like that, but you know what I mean. But I straight up was all like, I don't want to work that, and I walked away.
Shit. I mean, seriously.
And then the fucking manager comes up to me, Adam, you gotta wear. Did you tell him you have a problem wearing a mask? You gotta wear a mask. I'm like, how can I drink my? I bought a.
I didn't say I had a problem wearing a mask. I just asked when this shit started.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, how can I drink my drink? Well, you can drink your drink, but after you drink your drink, you need to put on a mask. And like, what's funny is, I'm like, they have a mask in there? I'm like, look, lady, I have a mask. My problem isn't the mask, is the fact that y'all are just like fucking just. It's how it was coming off to me, really. Yeah. It was more of like I have control over you.
I got fired because they changed my schedule while I was on vacation that I had earned for working there for a year and a half.
Yeah.
I had racked up a whole week's worth of paid vacation, and I took it. And then they changed my schedule, and of course Walmart will tell you, it's your job to keep up with your own schedule. But I had gotten a week off. I went out of town. By the time I got back into town and actually got service on my phone again, a guy called me and was like, hey, are you coming in tonight, or are you just saying fuck it all? And I was like, I'm not scheduled for the night. I was on a fucking week-long paid vacation. When I came in the next day, they were like, we changed your schedule. You were supposed to come in last night, and then we were going to give you 2 days off after that. And I was like, I was on a paid vacation. And they were like, well, you just walked in like nothing happened, and you no-called, no-showed. And I was like, well, am I fired or am I not?
Oh my God.
I was like, I've seen you go into the system and fix it for people before where they don't have to be fired. Am I fired or am I not? I'm sorry I made the fucking mistake. You know, I feel really bad. I'm a depressed individual. You guys are coming down hard on me. What are we going to do about this? And then they're like, oh, we got to let you go. And I'm like, all right, well, fuck it. You got to let me fucking go.
Jesus.
I worked every shitty job you can have in this area.
What are your thoughts on people with all this this extra authority? They're not just your boss. They feel like an authority figure when they have that sort of. I guess a boss is an authority figure. I don't know what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm trying to say? I
fucking laugh
like
at
I
you.
get. Do you feel
your
like
existence is tiny and you think you've got fucking control over people like me?
What?
And here's the thing to all people out there. If you got to call yourself the word boss, if you feel like you have to call yourself the word boss or other people have to call you boss, you're a tiny little piece of shit and you need to fucking grow some and get over yourself.
Well, where's the line when it comes to someone who's above you and like an authority figure, like someone that can like
what the fuck is an authority figure? What the
I
fuck
don't know.
does that
That's
mean?
what I'm trying to think of. I'm trying to, because like I feel like I guess a boss would be someone that kept things running smoothly, right?
My buddy Rob is a hero of mine. In my stand-up, I talk about Rob a lot. But here's one thing that I'm going to go ahead and give away out here for free, ladies and gentlemen. It's not part of my stand-up. Rob taught me one thing. And it's not going to make you successful in life, but Rob taught me one thing that's really stuck with me. When we were working at Walmart, one time, it was around Christmas. We had like 3 trucks come in.
Oh, yeah.
It was hell. We were pulling stuff off the trucks as fast as we could. This manager chick came up and said that we weren't working fast enough. So it got all of us pissed. We were all pissed. The whole crew was pissed. And Rob took it upon himself to be the sacrificial lamb by, like for lack of better term. But Rob walked up to her and said like, well, we're going as fast as we can, ma'am. And there's, 2 people called in tonight and there's 3 whole trucks. We're trying to do it all as fast as possible. And she started screaming in Rob's face about how he wasn't doing his job and how none of us were doing our jobs. Rob snapped. Put his finger right in her face. She stopped. Looked like she saw a ghost. Like nobody in her life has ever fucking stood up to her. Like she's so fucking perfect that nobody's ever had the balls to stand up to her in her pure fucking godlike form. So Rob snaps and he puts a finger in her face and he says, you only have as much power over me as I choose to give you. And you're pissing me off right now and I'm about to give you none. So go back into your office, pretend that you do work, and let us get the real work done. She wrote him up and all that shit, but that's the truth. Yeah. If you gotta call yourself a boss, remember that. You don't do shit. Your workers do shit for you. So shut up, go sit in your office, pretend like you do work, and let the real workers get the work done.
I'm gonna rate this beer 6.
6, 1 point above me.
But that's just our opinions.
And beer.
And that's fine, because all we have here are opinions and beer.
We are a million and billion.